कहाँ पर डूबेंगे? कहाँ डूबे भैया? Food science, pole science. Competitive government, competitive government and body bodies. Competitive government and competitive bodies are very but different concept. Different concept. Competitive government. Comparative government is a traditional and narrow study. The comparative government is a traditional and narrow study. It's mainly focused on formal institutions of government such as constitution, legislature, executive, and judiciary. It studies mostly democratic countries and use descriptive and legal method. And use descriptive and legal method. And use descriptive and legal method. Use descriptive and legal method. Use descriptive and legal method. Comparative politics is broader and modern. Comparative politics broader and modern. Comparative politics is broader and modern. Comparative politics is broader and modern. Comparative comparative politics is broader and modern. It studies not only formal structure, but also informal process like political behavior, political culture, political parties, pressure group, and political development, and includes both democratic and non-democratic countries, and use scientific, analytical, and empirical method. Whose comparative government, whose comparative government is institution centered, while comparative politics is system centered and comprehensive. Next, write a short note on institutionalism. Write a short note on institutionalism. Write a short note on institutionalism. Institutionalism is the idea that government must be restricted by the constitution and or exercise according to law. Mere existence of constitution is not enough. Constitutionalism requires that ruler respect constitutional rules in practice. The main features of constitutionalism include rule of law, separation of power, independence of judiciary, and protection of fundamental rights. It ensures that it ensures that no authority is above the law and that citizen rights are safeguarded against arbitrary state action. Constitutionalism promote Constitutionalism promote accountability, transparency, and democratic governance. Constitutionalism promote accountability. Constitutionalism promote accountability, transparency, and democratic governance. In modern state, it is essential for maintaining liberty. It is essential for 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 no authority is above the law and that citizen rights are safeguarded against arbitrary state action. Constitutionalism promote accountability. Constitutionalism promote accountability, transparency, and democratic governance. Constitutionalism promote accountability, transparency, and democratic governance. Accountability and democratic governance. Constitutionalism promote Constitutionalism promote transparency, promote accountability. Constitutionalism promote accountability, transparency, and constitutionalism promote accountability, transparency, and democratic governance. In modern state, it is essential for maintaining liberty and preventing misuse of power. Constitution promote accountability. In modern state, it is essential for liberty and the briefly explain David Easton feedback. The briefly explain the briefly explain David Easton feedback model feedback model of political system. David Easton explained political thought in David Easton explained political thought the system approach. The David Easton explained political thought the system approach according to him. The David Easton explained system approach explain David Easton explained political thought the system approach according to him political system work through conservation output and feedback. Input includes demand sub input includes demand and support coming from society. Demand input includes demand and supports coming from society, such such as public needs and loyalty to the system, such as public needs and loyalty to the system. When enter, their inputs enter in the in their there's these input enters the political system and and processed through decision making institutions called our process institution called the conservation process. The decision taken by authorities the decision taken by authority the decision taken by authorities result in outputs. The decision taken by authorities result in outputs such as laws, policies, and administrative action, such as laws, administrative and decision. The decision taken by authorities result in outputs. This is the decision making by authority. The result in outputs such as laws, the laws and all policy and administrative action such as and administrative action. Feedback refers to reaction of the society to these outputs. Feedback refers to feedback refers to the reaction. Feedback refers to the reaction of society to this output. Feedback helps system. Feedback helps system to adjust and modify the policy. Adjust and modify the policies. Through feedback, the political system maintains stability and survival. Through through feedback, the political system maintains stability and survival. Through feedback, the political system through feedback, the political system maintains stability and survival. Through the Eastern feedback model slow, shows politics as a continuous and democratic process. The Eastern feedback, the Eastern, through the Eastern feedback, through the Eastern feedback, through the Eastern feedback, through the Indian feedback model, through the Indian feedback model, so So politics as a continuous and democratic process. Continuous and democratic process. What is the concept of political development according to Lucien Pay? What is the concept of political development according to Lucien Pay? What is the what is what is the concept of political development according to Lucien Pay? Lucien Pay explained political development as a multi-dimensional process. Lucien Pay explained political development as a multi-dimensional process related to the growth and modernization of political system. According to him, political development means the capacity of a political system. According to him, the political development means the capacity of political system to respond to the social demands and manage and manage manage change effectively manage change effectively. Lucien Pay defined political development with equality, capacity, and differentiation. Equality, equality means equal participation of citizens in politics. Politics. Capacity refers to ability of political institutions to, to perform perform functions effectively. Perform functions effectively. Differentiation means specialization of political roles, roles in and institution. He also emphasized political culture, modernization, participation, and legitimacy as political element, as as political element, as political element, as political element, as political element, as political element. State and maintain the state, the main idea of Samuel Huntington and policy. State the main ideas of Samuel Huntington and policies. Huntington explained the concept of political decay. Samuel Huntington explained the concept of political decay in his book Political Order and Changing Society. Political Order and Changing Society. According to him, political decay occurs when political institutions fail to adapt. According to him, political decay occurs when when political institutions fail to adapt to to rapid social and modern social and economic changes. Social and rapid social and economic changes. Social and economic changes. Huntington argued that rapid modernization without strong political institutions lead to instability, corruption, violence, and breakdown of order. Political participation may increase faster than the development of political institutions, creating chaos. Emphasized the political order depend on institutionalism, not merely on modernization, or democracy. Strong, stable, and well organized institutions are necessary to prevent political decay. Those those political decay result from the gap between those political decay result from the gap between social modernization and institutional social. He emphasized that political order depends on institutionalization, not merely on modernization or democracy. Strong, stable, and well organized institutions are necessary to prevent political decay. Those political decay result the political political decay is political decay Political decay, political decay result from the gap between political decay. The result from the political decay result from the gap between political decay. The result from the gap between social modernization and institutional gap. Six number and next. Next and ext next. Explain the Almond and Powell structural. Explain the Almond and Powell. Explain Almond and Powell structural functional approach. Explain the Almond and Powell structural concept. Explain Almond and Powell structural functional approach. Explain Almond and Powell structural functional approach. Explain Almond and Powell structural functional approach. Explain the Almond and Powell. Explain all Almond and Powell structural functional approach. Garvey Almond and Belge and Belgium Powell. Garvey Almond and Bingham Powell developed the structural approach to study a political system to complete study of com- stud- to study political system in comparative way. Gabriel Almond and Gabriel Almond, Gabriel Almond and Powell, Gabriel Almond and Powell, Gabriel Almond and Powell, Bingham Powell, Gabriel Almond or Bingham Powell, huh. Gabriel Almond or Bingham Powell Powell developed the structural functional approach to study political system comparative way to study political system in a comparative way. Gabriel Almond and Gabriel Almond and Bingham Powell developed the Gabriel Almond and Powell Gabriel Almond, Gabriel, Gabriel Almond and Bingham Powell developed the structural function approach to study political system and comparative way. Gabriel Almond and Bingham Powell developed the political functional approach to study to study to study political system in a comparative way. According to them, according to them, political according to them, even political system has certain structures. Even according to whom, if according to every political system has certain structures, institutions which performs specific functions, which performs specific functions necessary for the survival of a system, which is necessary for the survival of the system. According to them, when political system has certain structures, according to them, according to them, the when according to them, every political system has certain structures which perform specific functions necessary for the survival. According to him, every political system, him, according to him, them, according to them, according to them, every political system has a certain political, certain, has, according to him, every political system has a certain structure, institution to perform, which performs which performs specific function, which performs specific function necessary for the survival of the system. 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 Garvey, Alban, and Bingham Powell are develop the political system, develop the political structural system, structural functional system, develop the structural according to him, every political system structure institutions which which performs scientific, which performs scientific, which performs scientific functions, which perform scientific functions necessary for the survival of the system. Necessary for the survival of the system. Necessary for the survival of the system. Structures include structures include institutions like legislative, executive, judiciary, political parties, and press group. Structures include structures include structures include institution like structures include institution like judiciary, legislature, executive, judiciary, political parties and pressure group. These structures, per, these structure perform these structures perform function. These structures perform functions such as institutions, interest, articu- articulation, interest, agents, aggregation, aggregation, political communication, rule making, rule application, and rule adjection. These structure perform functions such as interaction, interest, articulation, interest, interest, aggregation. Structure includes political, legislature, judiciary, political parties, and pressure group. Structures include like legislature, executive, pressure group, political parties, and pressure group, judiciary, pressure parties, and political parties and pressure group. These structure perform this structure this structure performs such as this structure perform such as this structure perform such this structure perform this structure performs this structure perform functions such as interest interest articulation interest aggregation political communication, rule making, rule application, and rule adjection, education, rule education. Almond Powell argue that structures may differ. Structures may differ from countries to country. Functions are common to all political systems. Armand and Powell argue that structures are different. Structure were argue that Powell argue that structure while structure may different while structure may different while structures may different while structures may while structures may different but while argue that while structures are structures structures may differ structures are differ from the country. Functions are common. Functions are common. Functions are functions are common to functions are common. Functions are common. Functions are common to political. Functions are to common functions. functions are common to political functions are common to all political systems. This approach helps. This approach helps. This approach helps in comparing. This approach helps comparing both developed and developing country system. This approach helps in comparing both. This this approach helps in comparing. This approach help in comparing both both development and developed and developing country system through comparing this those those compare this this structural functions approach provided a scientific and comprehensive framework for these structures. This structural functional approach this structural functional approach provided provide a scientific and comprehensive framework. This structural and functional approach provided approach provided a scientific and comprehensive framework for competitive politics. Comprehensive framework for competitive politics. Next. Explain the dependency theory. Explain the dependence. Explain the explain the explain the dependency theory. Explain the dependency theory. Explain the dependency theory. Dependency theory explains the problem of underdevelopment in the third world country. Dependency theory explains the problem of underdevelopment. Dependency theory explains the problems of underdevelopment countries in the third world. Countries. Dependency theory explains the problems of underdevelopment countries in the third world countries. That mainly depended that was mainly developed and Andre Grand Frank. It was mainly developed by Andre Grand Frank. It was mainly developed by Andre Grand Frank. According to this theory, underdevelopment is natural not natural natural condition, but the result of historical exploitation by developed countries. According to this theory, underdevelopment is not natural is not a natural is it not natural condition is not natural condition, but the result of exploitation of the of result of historical exploitation by development countries. Political history. Dependency theory explain the problem. Dependency theory explain the problem of underdevelopment in third world countries. It was developed by Andrew Garden Frank. On Andrew Garden Frank. Andrew Garden Frank. Andrew Garden Frank. Andrew Garden Frank. But Andrew Garden Frank, according to the theory, underdevelopment is not a natural condition. It was but the result of historical exploitation by the development countries, development countries. Frank argued that the world is divided into two core, developed and periphery, periphery, core, developed, core and periphery, underdeveloped, periphery, core and periphery. Frank argued that the world is divided into four. The Frank argued that the world is divided into four, 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 no, divided into into core and periphery. core मतलब developed, periphery मतलब underdeveloped countries. The core countries exploit the periphery by taking taking raw materials cheaply and selling fresh finished good at high price. This create a relationship of dependency. This creates a relationship of dependency where poor countries remain remain economically and politically developed, no rich countries, mainly which where poor countries remain economically remain economically and political development, where poor countries remain economically and political development and political de- dep- develop, de- politically dependent on these countries. The poor countries remain economically and politically depend on these countries. The core countries exploit the the core country exploit the core country exploit the prohibited privacy country by the selling in a cheap raw materials cheap and selling finished goods in high price at selling goods at high price. This create this create a relationship of dependency. This create a relationship of dependency. This create a relationship of dependency. This create a relationship of dependency where poor countries where poor countries remain economically and where poor country when poor country remain where poor country remain where poor countries remain economically and politically dependent on these countries. Where poor countries remain where poor countries remain economically and politically dependent on these countries. Where poor country where poor countries remains economically and politically depend on rich countries. Where poor countries where poor countries remain economically and politically depend on rich countries. Where poor countries where poor countries where poor countries remain economically where poor countries remain economically and where poor countries remain economically and politically depend on rich countries. Where poor countries remain where poor countries remain economically and politically depend on this country. As a result, in core countries, the development in core countries lead the leads the underdevelopment in in peripheral countries in peripheral countries. In a result, developed countries developed in core whose development countries whose develop whose dependency this dependency theory system and and explain inequality between nations. Inequality between nations. Equality between nation. Equality between nation. Equality between nation. Explain the concept of political culture. Explain the concept of political culture. Explain the concept of political culture. Political culture refers to the political culture refers to the political culture refers to the beliefs, values, attitude, and orientation of people towards the political system. The concept was developed by Gabriel Almond and Sydney Sydney Weber Sydney Verba. The political culture refers to the beliefs, beliefs. Political culture refers to values, attitude, and political culture refers to the attitude, and orientation of people towards the political system. The concept was developed by Gabriel Allman and Sydney Verba. The political culture explain how citizens view the political culture. For the political culture explain the political culture explain how citizens view authority government. Political culture explain how citizens views authority, government, and their role in politics. Almond and Weber identify three types of political culture: approachable subject, and parties, participant, and healthy democracy. Healthy democracy usually a usually a participate political culture where people actively take part of where people actively take part in political activities. Political activities. Political culture influence the stability. Political culture, political political culture, political culture influence the stability, functioning, and development of political system. It helps explain why similar political institutions work differently and in different countries. The concept of political socialization. They explain the concept of political socialization. Political socialization is the process. Explain the concept of political socialization. Political socialization is the process of political socialization is the process by which individual political acquires political values, beliefs, attitude, and behavior. It explains how political learn about politics and developed their culture over time. Political culture over time. Political socialization is the process by which any individual acquire political values, beliefs, attitude, and behavior. It explains explain how political learn about politics and develop their political culture over time. Main main argue main the urgent the main urgents of political socialization the main agents of political socialization are family, school, peer group, media, political parties, the religion. Through these agent, individuals learn about authority, rights, duty, and the participation. Political socialization help in the continuity and stability of the political system by transmitting political culture one transmitting political culture from one generation to other. At the same time, it can also bring change by introducing new ideas and values. Through political socialization play a crucial role in shaping citizens' political awareness and participation. Explain the concept of electoral system. Explain the concept of electoral system. The electoral system is the method. Electoral system is the method by which voters are converted into seats in a legislature. It determines how representatives are elected and how political powers is distributed among parties. These the main types of electoral system: first past the post, the first past the post, and pro pro proportional representative and mixed representative. In past in P in the FPTP system, the candidates with the highest voters win. In PPR, seats are allotted according to the percentage of voters receiving by parties received by parties. The electoral system play a important role in the political shaping the party system, representation, and stability of the political system. Different countries adopt different electoral system based on their political needs.